Yorba Linda and Anaheim Hills both offer a lot of the same benefits, and we get a lot of people on our Instagram and TikTok and even on here on YouTube asking us what in the world is the difference between the two. So we figured let's go ahead and make a video. So I'm going to break down the pros and cons of, not really the pros and cons, but like comparing Anaheim Hills and Yorba Linda. So let's go ahead and dive into the video. Overview on the two different cities. I think the easiest way to do this is I'm going to head over to our website, Onyx Homes, and I'm going to go ahead and type in Anaheim Hills first, and then we're going to get to Yorba Linda. So we're gonna look at the city of Anaheim Hills, pull this guy up, and I'm also gonna add in Yorba Linda. All right, so while this is loading up, let's just go ahead and talk about this. So these guys are in really similar spots. Pull up the map. They're pretty much right next to each other, and they're really split by the 91, right? So you've got Anaheim Hills is gonna be like south before you get, this is kind of even hard to explain. Honestly, they just like blend in together. So Yorba Linda is farther north, and they're really split by the 91. I mean, there's really no two ways about it. They're very, very similar. Yorba Linda is much more pushed up against the hillside. Like if I just look at satellite view here, then like more of it is pushed up against the hillside in Yorba Linda rather than Anaheim Hills. But honestly, people live in these different areas for very much the same reason. So like here's some bullet points. Anaheim Hills is upscale suburban hillside living with scenic views. I would say Yorba Linda is slightly more family centric, but all the same things. Also, Yorba Linda is slightly lower density as well too. You're gonna really see this when we get to the average price points. You're gonna see higher end stuff in Yorba Linda than you will in Anaheim Hills, generally speaking. Yorba Linda is gonna have a much stronger community feel than you will see in Anaheim Hills, and Yorba Linda is quieter, right? So like Anaheim Hills has a little bit more going on about it. Okay, that's kind of like the basics. And as far as where it's at, like, I mean, you see where it's at. As far as the high end stuff, right? So we got Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda, Yorba Linda, Yorba Linda, Yorba Linda, Yorba Linda. So like from a high end real estate perspective, we're starting from the highest price point and scrolling down in the city, and they're all in Yorba Linda, like almost all of them, until we get to the 3.5 mark at Anaheim Hills. So not to say Anaheim Hills is less expensive, like it's not cheap housing. It's just Yorba Linda has way more high end stuff, obviously. Right, once we get into the 3 mark, we're going to start to see more of Anaheim Hills, but even then, honestly, most is still Yorba Linda. So anyway, that's kind of like the main thing, just from where we're at, and then getting into the real estate. But this, we're looking at the highest price point stuff here, but if we just put this to like the newest listings on the market, the median home price in Anaheim Hills is $1.05 million, okay? And the median home price in Yorba Linda is 1.375, right? So there's a, let me do some public math here. There is a $325,000 difference between the two cities, which is relatively significant. Where it's more significant, honestly, is the median home price for Orange County as a whole is like 115. Let's just round it off. 115. And so that means Yorba Linda is above that, Anaheim Hills is below that. I think that's a better comparison because they're really not that far apart either. You just have you have more way high end stuff in Yorba Linda than you do in Anaheim Hills. Variety and age, because location wise they're very similar, but in variety. So Anaheim has way more diversity. There's more different types of homes in Anaheim Hills than you will see in Yorba Linda. Yorba Linda is typically larger single family homes, larger lots, larger single family homes. Yorba Linda is going to also have a few new developments, whereas Anaheim Hills doesn't really have generally older homes as well too. So Yorba Linda a little bit newer, Anaheim Hills a little bit older. That's kind of the big thing there. Now location and commute, I mean they're the same. I can read my notes here as far as they're the same. I mean you have the 91. One's north, one's south of the 91. Now I will say it depends where you live in Yorba Linda as far as like how convenient it is, I suppose, but like I'm not gonna, like, they're the same. I could really nitpick and be like, oh, there's this one major, there's really not that big of a difference. And honestly, in this video, like I'm struggling here to show you the point that these are very similar cities. Like if you were working with me, if we were your real estate agent going through this and you said, hey, I want to look at Yorba Linda, we'd be like, cool, we're also going to look at Anaheim Hills. And if you're like, no, I don't want to look at Anaheim Hills, I don't know, because I don't like the word hills in my city, we'd be like, I don't care, we're also looking at Anaheim Hills. Like you would look at both of these areas. That's why I'm struggling here, because I want to give you this from the perspective of a real estate agent, not just like, oh yeah, obviously they're different cities. The big reasons people move to these two different cities, this is just kind of going off my script here, but I think this makes more sense. One of the big reasons people move to these cities is they want larger houses on larger lots. Okay, so that's number one. This is generally what we hear. Number 2 is we want good schools. So like both of these guys are in fantastic school districts. I always struggle with this one. I always struggle saying this. It's the PYLUSD. So Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District. Fantastic schools across the board. We use our website polls from greatschools.com. So if I just pick this random house in Yorba Linda, 1966 build, I mentioned a little bit older housing. But if I scroll down, you can see the schools, and they grade pretty much from top to bottom. So like on our website, it's gonna say above average. It doesn't get super specific because for some reason we're not allowed to talk about schools in real estate, which makes absolutely no sense. Which is why if you want more information, let us know. Be happy to help you. But like Yorba Linda High School, 10 out of 10. Canyon High School, 10 out of 10. Elementary School, Running Springs, 9 out of 10, right? So like really good schools overall. You can come in here and do your own research based on the house you're looking at, but that's why we put that on every single listing. You can scroll down and you can get to just underneath the mortgage calculator, which you're welcome to play with. You got the schools. Okay, so there's that. So they're both really good. I mean, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time there. All right, so I had some pros and cons written out here, but to be honest, I don't want to just make nonsense up. If you're a home buyer, you got to look at these two different cities. If you want higher end, nicer stuff, that's gonna be Yorba Linda, but you also have that in Anaheim Hills as well too, right? If you're not looking in the high, like if you're not looking in the $4 or $5 million range, if we look at a minimum of like $2 million, let's say 1.5, right? If we're looking in this price segment over 1.5, and let's look at price ascending, right? So okay, so here's 1.5 enough. So you got Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, Yorba Linda, Anaheim Hills, right? So they're kind of bouncing back and forth. So if you're in this 1.5 price point, you can look at these different houses that are for sale and see that, I mean, shoot, even under $2 million, you're getting a 3,200 square foot house with a pool on a bigger lot, newer stuff. I will say in a lot of Anaheim, I mean, it's in both. Like you're gonna have these killer views in both different areas. I have past clients in both. We do a lot of business in both of these different areas. The reality is, if you're looking at one, you should also look at the other. You're not doing it just like if you only look at one, you're just missing more houses for sale that are also really similar. Now, if you're in the really, really high-end market is where it's going to matter, right? So like in the beginning of the video, I mentioned that if we just get rid of this and let's sort by price descending, meaning high to low, you've got some really, really cool property, right? Like you have, this looks like a castle, 7 beds, 8 baths in Yorba Linda for $5-6 million basically. And I mean, this is super high end. If this was the Newport Coast, we'd be talking about $20 million at easy. So your high end stuff, if you're looking at this, the comparison I would add on here, if you're still watching, like and subscribe. You also got to add in Villa Park as well too. I honestly think so. If you don't have to have the view necessarily, I would add Villa Park in here as well too, right? For example, the highest listing in Villa Park right now is 5.7. You got another one at 5. This is a beautiful house at 5. So like on the high end stuff, if you want big lots, if you want newer construction, Yorba Linda is probably going to be your bet. But like if you're looking in the $3, $4, $5 million mark and you want big lots, this is the hit list you want to have. I would even add orange in here, and then you can maybe add custom. So that's kind of my bonus. This isn't even really, shouldn't even be a part of this video. My marketing gal's gonna kill me for going way off script here. But this is really like, I just want to make sure I'm giving you guys the best information possible. Like these are the things that you ought to be considering if this is the type of house you're looking for. God, that is beautiful. But anyway, that's the video. If you want more information on this, the reality is if you're looking for stuff like this, you and your unique situation matters a lot. These are a lot of custom, semi-custom homes. So if you want help with that in your home search, just go to allaboutoc.com, drop your information, book a call with our team. We'd be happy to help. But otherwise, I'll see you in this next video.